that they're very concerned about somebody hijacking their, rightfully so, right?
Sure.
There is still business tactics that have to be had. But you don't see a how it's made that's on YouTube now about how a modern contact lens is made. And so really the way that you can articulate this is through the doctors that are prescribing it. Kudos to them for realizing that. And I think it shows us a lot more about what sustainability really means. So it shows us a lot more about the complexities of the manufacturing process. But it strikes me that because of that, because you can't actually see the tangible nature of it, it's just this little simple piece of plastic, and it's not simple in any way, in any shape or form. No. Hello and welcome to Crystal Podcast on iCode Media. Today I'm having a great conversation with Dr. Brad Oatney and Dr. Chandler Mann, who I often call Chandler Flynn, and then sometimes I call him Connor. Thanks for joining in on the podcast today. We just got done with a CooperVision tour of their Costa Rica plant, and I wanted to get some reflections on that experience, what kind of the takeaway as clinicians was, and also maybe how it helps us articulate different things to our patients with both of these docs. So thanks for coming on.
Sure.
Dr. Oatney, talk a little bit about your practice and kind of your history, just a brief history for those of us who don't know you, don't know your history in the profession, those sorts of things.
So graduated from The Ohio State University. I guess we did figure out we must have a trademark on that. 1987, private practice since, had a big nursing home practice early on, and then I got involved in medical missions, got to go all over the world, and currently do really enjoy that. And I've been in industry for about 15 years.
And then you came back to private practice?
Retired for 5 weeks. I realized I'm not a retired kind of guy, and came back to private practice, and it's been wonderful in Delaware with Dr. Gaudio. We were old roommates in college, and we joined into Vision Source together, and so we're new at that, and we're kind of like two new grads with 35 years experience.
Yeah, awesome. Chandler, do you want to give us a little bit of overview? Chandler's been on the podcast before, but just to give you a little perspective, Chandler opened a practice cold in
December 22. January 23, yeah, around then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I opened cold December 22 in San Antonio, moved there from Houston, Texas. I graduated in 2019 from University of Houston, and I am a Longhorn by nature, so I was pretty mad at this guy for the Ohio State thing. But worked in ophthalmology for a couple of years in Houston, and had a plan that I wanted to open a private practice. I wanted to be part of Vision Source, and stuck to that plan. Once we opened, we grew very, very rapidly, very quickly. I'm still in a small 1,400 square foot space, but that's expanded, not from a size-wise, but my patient base has expanded immensely. So we're currently looking at options on how to expand that. I'm going to be bringing in a part-time associate, which is exciting. We're going to be opening up an extra day a week, and pretty large contact lens practice. CooperVision's a big proponent of our practice as well. Or I'm a big proponent of CooperVision lenses in our practice, especially with my site. I do a lot of myopia management, and so I was really, really excited to come here and be able to check everything out. So tell me, and I'll kind of go back and forth. I'll let you guys share your mic, but tell me about when you walked away. So plant tour. I'll just kind of reflect on my memory of learning. So 17 years ago when I graduated optometry school, I remember understanding vaguely how contact lenses are manufactured, but largely pretty familiar with the manufacturing of a rigid lens. Right, that maybe is more tangible. It's easier to understand the lathing processes and those sorts of things. And I think I understood the manufacturing process of a soft contact lens, but I have a whole different. Actually, I was misremembering the process, or maybe that 17-year change in technology has changed the process. But so that's kind of my reflection, and I'll try to maybe articulate this for the listeners afterwards, but about the actual process. But what was your takeaway, Chandler, of what stood out to you in terms of something you didn't know, or something that was impressive to you, or that maybe wasn't impressive to you? Yeah, I think first, awesome experience from CooperVision. So thank them for taking us on this tour. It's been very eye-opening on the process. I really didn't have much of an idea how much actual automation and precision goes into these lenses and how many steps of not only lens creation but quality control checks there are throughout the entire process, and just to the vast scale that they're able to make lenses that pass the quality control. I think we're seeing today, I mean, there was, significant 90% or so was what it was looking like that was coming out that was passing quality inspection every time. And I don't know how many lenses they said they make a day just at this plant alone, which kind of only makes, I think, one of their lens modalities. And what they say they make 150,000, 200,000.
I thought it was about 200,000 a day.
200,000 a day. There. Yeah. Just the precision that they do it with and the quality control checks, and also not really on the lens manufacturing side, but the excitement and the pride of everybody who works at the plant. That was pretty cool. They're really, really proud of what they do. So kind of seeing where it starts, upstream with them to kind of flowing downstream to us as practitioners, it's very interesting, and we take it for granted, I think so. On how many lenses. We just throw out trials, we give patients trials and, sell contacts, and it's a commodity, obviously, but we don't really realize how much work goes into behind the scenes and how intense the process actually is. So it's been pretty amazing. It was eye-opening for me to see just how significant that was.
Yeah, Brad, what do you think?
Hey, iCode Media listeners, want to know how AI is really going to impact your practice? Join us Tuesday, June 24th in Minneapolis, right before the AOA for the kickoff of the Gateway Tour. It's a full-day, live workshop where your whole team learns insights and team-building exercises together. We'll demystify AI, explore how data and tech are transforming optometry, and dig into real strategies to optimize performance clinically, operationally, and culturally. You'll experience a live AI workshop, learn what's working in other industries, and leave with a roadmap to lead confidently into the future. Reserve your team's seat now at gatewayculture.com. The most common questions I get include, what ophthalmological codes or evaluation and management codes should I use? What ICD-10 codes do I need to bill with this CPT code? What CPT codes can be billed together and what can't? And my favorite, how do I manage a patient who has diabetes who comes in for a quote-unquote routine eye exam? These questions really highlight the confusion and uncertainty that serves as a daunting hurdle for providers, makes it more challenging for them to care for their patients and provide those patients with the best opportunity for a lifetime of ocular health and clear vision. That's why we built iCode Education for this specific purpose. Our mission is to provide optometrists with resources to help you understand disease states, revenue cycles, and billing and coding so that you can put that on autopilot and truly care for your patients. Check out iCodeEducation.com. That's EYECODE education.com. We've developed a premier billing and coding bundle that includes all of our billing and coding resources in one place. We also have a 10% discount code just for listeners of this podcast. Enter the coupon code EYECODEMEDIA22 at checkout. We'd love to work with you. Check out iCodeEducation.com. Hello, dedicated optometrists. Are you looking for a way to support your patient's vision and overall eye health? Let me introduce you to Vision Edge Pro, a visual performance supplement that stands out in our profession. Vision Edge Pro contains a balanced blend of mesozeaxanthine, lutein, and zeaxanthine in a 10-10-2 ratio. This combination has been scientifically shown to increase macular pigment density, which enhances visual performance, including contrast sensitivity and vision in glare situations. Additionally, Vision Edge Pro provides 300 milligrams of DHA and EPA, fulfilling the daily requirements for omega-3s as recognized by the leading health organizations. This ensures your patients receive the essential nutrients their eyes need for optimal health. Whether it's for everyday screen use, night driving, or enjoying the outdoors, Vision Edge Pro supports your patients in seeing their best. Recommend Vision Edge Pro for your patients today and help them achieve clearer, healthier vision. Contact your local Macu Health representative for more details. Vision Edge Pro, because your patients deserve the best in eye health. Go to macuhealth.com and use the coupon code PODCAST2024 at checkout for special discounts.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. I think I am a scientist at heart, and I'm a lifelong learner. And to go see we got to actually see the chemist, measuring some of the dry monomer, the powder, almost literally in a beaker. And you just, like you said, you just think contact, it's this nice little, round thing. We take it for granted every day. But when you see the thought process that goes into, starting from there, and the microbiology aspect of it, and the safety aspect of it, and like you said, the innovation of the equipment, the cost, the planning, what country do you pick to put? I mean, I just feel like I got a nice wider angle view of what goes into making a contact lens globally, where to put your plant, all the fascinating reasons why they picked Costa Rica, and just the workforce, how the folks get educated for free in Costa Rica. So you have an educated workforce. You have a proximity to water for shipping.
Logistics.
And just,
two oceans.
Right? Oceans.
Which makes sense, but you're like, these are things that we don't think about, right?
Right.
I can be to 2 hours, I can be to the Pacific Ocean, 2 hours I can be to the Gulf.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like what Chandler said as well, the pride of workmanship with the people that we met there, and how they take care of the people who are there. And they've the sustainability story.
Yeah.
I have a poster in my office about that, and I think some about it. But to hear the statement, sustainability as a lifestyle, I thought, boy, that I did experience that today. I really saw, where they're sourcing the materials, how they use rainwater, how they only use X number of Olympic pools of water a year to make all these contacts, and they reuse it. And I have sometimes patients push back a little bit because they're like, I just don't want to waste things, and figuring out ways to recycle and reuse. So I thought the details of the how they put a contact lens design, how they match it with a material, and how they figure out the modulus and the DK over T, and just all those things it was a great holistic deep dive, I thought.
Yeah, so what was striking to me, and I don't know why I would have thought any different. I mean, I guess in my mind, it's going to be a clean space. But when you are in like a rainforest, right? You're in a tropical system. I made this comment before. Like I've gone to places, go to tropical places, brand new hotels, and then you can see maybe a year afterwards the hotel. If you don't stay on top of the maintenance, the exterior the paint starts to get moldy, and then the interior, there's so much humidity you can see in the corner of the walls. They're starting to wallpaper's peeling. None of that. I mean, and that's what you would expect from a medical device manufacturer. But it was so clean and so well kept.
Their sterilization is
completely
amazing.
Pristine. That was that really stood out to me as like from the moment you walked in, from the moment we pulled up, it's like wow, the whole thing is well kept after 10 years. Yeah. It's not what I was expecting in a 10-year-old building in the tropics, and that says nothing about people who live in the tropics. It speaks, I think, most because it's so hard to maintain it, that they were able to do that. The other thing was the complexity that they were able to achieve with such different lenses, like with the ability to manufacture so many different lenses with such control in mass was, so for the listening audience, obviously, how do you break down and have the flexibility to manufacture 200,000 unique lenses a day? Do you have to run 200,000 of the same power? Do you have to run, and then I have to stop it, and do I have to change? Like they had accounted for that in those, again, what they're calling sort of a 6-pack of a flower, right? And the ability to, you find out that they can change each one of the little pucks on the flower to be a different power. And then that follows it throughout the entire process. And when they split those pucks from one lot to the next, it all gets tracked. It all gets, so now you can make not infinite, but almost infinite numbers through one run batch by having a, the plus or the front surface of the lens and the back surface of the lens in the mold that is, you watch it being injected and then compressed and then hardened. That whole entire process, every single one of those can be different along the entire run. That was staggering to me, and it shows you how they can scale up and have, be producing 200,000 lenses, but they don't have to produce 200,000 lenses today that are all -2. They can produce, 50,000 that are -2 and 10, probably not 10, but maybe a couple thousand that are a -10. And, so that was super impressive to me.
All with the same device.
All with the same device.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. The only thing really that changed in that entire thing was the male and female. Right. Was the metal dye.
Yeah,
what did you think about the power, the statement of the power of the metal dye being different than the plastic curvature that it made? Did you catch that?
It helped me think of, I don't know why, but the difference of the index of refraction in air versus water. I thought, okay, I never thought about it either, but all the details and the way you have to change the formula to know this is going to add a +1/4 or a -1/2, and the detail was impressive.
Yeah. Chandler, did you pick up on the other thing that I thought was interesting about the sustainability aspect? I thought, did I hear that right? They manufacture, and the intent is to have this sort of curvature, this sort of power. But they can check that power throughout, and if they wanted a -50 for some reason and they wound up getting a -75 out of that whole run, they could still use it.
Yeah.
I was like, did you really say that? I was like, well, it makes sense. That wasn't a failure. It's still a good lens. The lens has the right base curve. It has the right overall diameter. And not that it was like, but I was joking with Jeff about this. It's like, you think they were sitting in a boardroom talking about sustainability and talking about like, well, we need to reduce some waste. And how do we reduce the waste? Those kind of things are just things that we just don't think about on a regular basis, right?
Another part of the tour that I thought was amazing was the human checking on the radioscope at the very end. Like the very, very last step of that quality control is checking on a dehydrating that lens, checking it on a radioscope, and making sure that power is exactly what it's supposed to be, which was pretty cool to see, like a human aspect in a very, very automated device as well, just to add that like extra step. But their sustainability is amazing. I think, were they saying that they're plastic neutral? Like
plastic neutral.
Yeah, they're plastic neutral, which is incredible. And again, like we were saying, talking about patients being worried about waste and things like that. That's something that hits home, and we've been here now, and we actually see that it's true. So we can say we've been to the facility where they actually make these lenses. We see how embedded in not only the company, but the entire employee staff of the company and everybody who works there, how big of an impact that sustainability has on their daily lives and how important it is to them. So that's really, really cool to me. I think that they're able to reuse stuff that probably in the past has not, or I don't know if different companies do it differently, but don't consider past quality control just because of power change. But if it passes every other step, they can actually reuse that lens, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think that so I'm reminded of one of my partners in my building that we're building right now. He's a patient now, and he made the comment he was in a monthly lens, and I said, well, why don't you wear a daily lens? Like why don't we switch a daily? And so he did. And he liked them. But he came back and wanted to go back to his monthly lens because he said, I'm a conservative. And I know he's a conservative both politically and also, but his point here, I was like, well, I know you're a conservative, but how does that apply? He goes, yeah, but I also want to conserve other things. So that's really interesting. And but my point about that is that, do you remember how big, so that drum of plastic, right? That drum. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you're manufacturing. They said, okay, we're going to manufacture 200,000 lenses a day. So basically every 10 days, they go through one of those drums. So if the listeners envision a 50-gallon barrel, maybe times 2, right? About that size, maybe a little bit smaller than that. That manufactures over 2 million lenses.
Right.
So you think, okay, I'm being wasteful in that, but like this is the amount of water and plastic that we're talking about is like a 50-gallon drum.
Right.
A little bit bigger than that.
Compared to like how much it takes to make a sole of a shoe.
Yeah.
I mean, the clothes we wear is all, there's plastic in all of that.
Exactly.
And that's, the shoes we wear, we change shoes. I mean, if you wear your shoes enough, you're changing them at least, once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And that amount of plastic to make 2 million lenses it's minimal. I mean, especially when they're also plastic and they're cleaning up plastic in the environment to even offset the minimal amount of plastic they're using is pretty awesome.
So, final thoughts before we go to our mixology class, gentlemen. So we definitely had to take some time here to enjoy Costa Rica. The facilities at the hotel have been great because they provide stuff for us to do just for fun in between. So it kind of breaks up the day and builds some camaraderie. We're all Vision Source offices as well, so that's been really good.
Got to make some nice Costa Rican desserts yesterday.
Yes, what were they called?
I forget what they called, but they were. I know they were.
I thought you'd remember.
It was coconut shred. I loved it. I ate too many of them. I forgot.
Really good.
I got sugar drunk.
Okay, so but before our mixology, yes, right, we could go down that. I'm going to definitely make those for my family. Final thoughts. What's your kind of main takeaway as you walk away from here, Brad? That's going to impact the way you maybe care for patients in some of our discussions, the way you might articulate the complexity of a contact lens to patients. Like, bring this home to practice.
CooperVision and the AOA have joined forces in a groundbreaking initiative to transform how optometrists treat children with myopia. The Myopia Collective aims to unite our profession and its allies to challenge the status quo and elevate the standard of care for children with myopia. Everyone is invited to become a member of the collective. By joining, you pledge to act in slowing childhood myopia progression. Membership includes regular updates and information about the collective's efforts, access to educational opportunities and resources, and insights from the ambassador optometrists who advocate for community policy and changes supporting the collective's mission. Click the link in the show notes to join the collective today.
Yeah, I think the amount, like I say, just the thoughtfulness that goes into making a contact lens. I mean, we just take it for granted. We grab them we grab that 5-pack out of the trial, and you don't really think, where did this thing come from? And I think just reiterating to patients, like, I actually got to see them make this, and it is quite an ordeal. And they're trying to be thoughtful about trying to preserve the planet. Like, the number of people that live here now, the number of people who are wearing daily disposable contacts, that's only going to go up. Myopia worldwide is skyrocketing. They say in 30 or 40 years, it's really going to go crazy. I just think it's good that they're getting ahead of the game. So I think the spending a little more time maybe just educating. I know I have a lot of sustainability conscious patients that it's very significant to them. And actually seeing it and seeing how many bottles of plastic bottles that are taken out of the ocean that Cooper funds to sort of offset the amount of plastic they use. I think that's something I really need to spend a little more time educating people on.
Yeah, great. Chandler, what about you?
Kind of to parlay off that on the sustainability again, I think they got, it's called a LEED award, right? A LEED plaque, and they got a gold LEED plaque at the facility here and the facility in Puerto Rico, which is the highest award achievement you can get for sustainability from a plant. And this is not just like a commercial. This is a plant that produces plastic products. Mm-hmm. So to be able to get an award like that really, really shows, I think, how invested they are in sustainability. I know we're talking a lot about this, but like Brad said, I mean, all of our patients, whether they voice it or not, majority of people care about sustainability, care about protecting our earth, and being able to bring up, like Brad was saying, to the patients, talk about the sustainability, because we have patients every day, I'm sure. I mean, I have them at least once or twice a week that I'm converting to dailies, and their biggest concern is the wastefulness of that. So being able to actually convey the message that CooperVision, instills for their entire company on that, and being partnered with a company like that makes everything a little bit easier, I think. And also, again, like Brad was saying, I mean, the complexity that goes into this lens, we as consumers in every aspect of life, whether it's contact lenses, medical devices, medication, clothes, cars, we never stop to think about how important the production process is and how important the quality control process is, and the people that are actually there, putting the time in to do that and care so much. And I mean, there's a reason that there is a cost to these things, and there's a reason that these perform better than other lenses, so on and so forth, and that's because the time that's put in, the care that's put in, and the investment from from CooperVision, the big companies that there was a laser on there that just sketches that just lasers the powers and the labeling on there. That was $100,000 per laser. And I don't even want to know what the actual automated devices cost. And it's hard to explain unless you've seen it, but being able to convey to the patients how intense this process is and how integrated and kind of streamlined the human and robotic aspect of it is, I think it will help at least talk to them and get them understanding of this isn't just a commodity that we're putting in. There's a lot of work that goes into this, and there's a reason that we're prescribing this type of lens.
Yeah, and there's my kind of final thoughts is to piggyback off of both of your points is that, there's a reason from the proprietary nature of all of these contact lens companies, right, that they're very concerned about somebody hijacking rightfully so, right?
Sure.
There is still business tactics that have to be had. But you don't see how it's made that's on YouTube now about how a modern contact lens is made. And so really the way that you can articulate this is through the doctors that are prescribing it. And
right.
So kudos to them for realizing that. And I think it shows us a lot more about what sustainability really means. So it shows us a lot more about the complexities of the manufacturing process. But it strikes me that because of that, because you can't actually see the tangible nature of it, it's just this little simple piece of plastic, and it's not simple in any way, in any shape or form.
No.
It's we all know it's sterile, but like the steps that are taken for impurities, we had to go through that, right? To minimize, to eliminate the risk for impurities in the whole system.
Yeah,
and
show
then
our picture.
Yeah, I will have to show the picture.
I felt like I was walking into like Starbase when I was in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
the robotics is insane.
You accept it. You expect it, but until you see it, it's hard to imagine.
Right.
So thanks, guys, for doing this. Really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
All right.